Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our January 2022 Step 2 board meeting. And if we normally do, let's just go ahead and take a moment of silence to remember our fallen members and as well as the military. All right, thank you. And I do see that we have our newest appointee, Jay Burney. Did I pronounce it right, Jay?
You did. Thank you very much. Appreciate being here.
Jay, can you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself to the group and tell us, I know you're down here in the Olympia area, but go ahead and tell everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. So again, Jay Burney, I'm the city manager for the city of Olympia. I've been at the city of Olympia for, this is my 24th year at the city of Olympia. This is my third full year as the city manager for Olympia. And prior to that, I was the assistant city manager. Yeah, just happy to be serving. And I've got an amazing police department and an awesome Class 2 fire department under my control. And I'm super excited to be the city manager in Olympia and appreciate being here.
Well, welcome. I look forward to working with you. All right. Because we are in the session period, we are not going to look at our minutes from our December meeting. We do have a quorum, but we will turn it over to our executive director, Mr. Nelson, for an update.
All right, we're going to do things slightly different from past years. Jacob is he's taken over sending out the weekly legislative updates, and he's going to take over doing the legislative updates for these board meetings as well. And so with that, I will turn it over to him.
Okay, good morning. Quick update on where we're at in the legislative session. Day 17 of the 60-day session. I know Steve's always quick to point out, doesn't mean we won't go into special session, but at least we got the short session this year. The first big cutoff that we're concerned about for the board's bills is the House of Origin Fiscal Committee cutoff, which is on February 7th. I'm going to start off with an update on the bill that I think everyone's most closely following and concerned about. Senate Bill 5652 and its companion House Bill 1701, which is the Left 2 Benefit Improvement Bill. Both bills are scheduled for executive action tomorrow in the fiscal committees, well ahead of that cutoff date I just gave. Did want to let the board know that we are expecting there to be an amendment for both the House and the Senate version of the bill. It will be the exact same amendment, it looks like. And that Left 2 board staff have been in communication with the legislative staff working on those amendments. The amendment includes some technical changes and one substantive change. Just going to start off telling you about the technical changes. So one of the technical changes came from the State Investment Board. They requested that the dates that were used in the original bill to transfer money into the BIA and then transfer the money out of the BIA be pushed back 1 month, each of them pushed back 1 month. And that is so it aligns with the commingled trust fund accounting cycle. And then there were some minor amendments that OSA requested. One was to change state actuary to office of the state actuary. That way Matt doesn't get stuck doing everything and they can spread that out among the state there. I did offer Lisa that we could put deputy state actuary on there, but she said that wasn't necessary. And then they requested to change the date of the actuarial valuation, really just to correct it. So from annually is what we had in the bill to only in even numbered years so that it aligns with the rate setting periods. And then last, OSA had requested in the rate freeze section that I had put the wrong date in there, that I had put that the board, to freeze the rates the board had adopted in 2021, and it was actually adopted in 2020. And then there was one additional change that policy staff in the House identified a potential issue. In the bill, we specified that minimum contribution rates for Left 2 were not subject to review by the Pension Funding Council, like the other plans whose minimum rates are listed in that same statute. And so policy staff had concerns that it might have an unintended impact on the legislature's ability to review minimum rates. And so this amendment just clarifies that the minimum contribution rates are subject to review by the legislature. And then now I just want to touch on the substantive amendment. So this amendment would add a third tier to the board's minimum rate funding policy. This third tier would be if the plan is the plan's funded status is greater than or equal to 110%, that the contribution rate would drop down to 80% of the entry age normal cost instead of 90% as it is now. So given the information the board got in November and December from OSA about the projected funding status of the plan due to the extraordinary investment returns last year, it was thought that an 80% floor would be a good option for the board to have at its disposal because a 90% floor might not be aggressive enough. And so the 80% floor, I want to stress that this would be optional. The board can, it's just a minimum rate, meaning the board can go higher than the minimum rate if the board believes that's appropriate. An example of where that's occurred was just last year when the fiscal impacts of COVID were unknown and the board chose not to adopt the minimum rate and keep it higher for a year while that's sorted out. And so we've been in communication with OSA on this amendment, and they have not done a fiscal note at this time. They typically don't do a fiscal note on an amendment until it passes, until it's voted on, passes the committee. So we don't know for sure at this time how the amendment will impact cost, but based on those conversations we've had with Mitch and Lisa, having this new option should eliminate the cost that they identified in their initial fiscal note. And it should actually show a modest savings, relatively modest savings instead. So in the 25-year outlook in the current fiscal note, OSA actually showed a cost of $213 million of the bill, and that began, there was no cost until after 15 years, because that's when the offset would end. And then from there forward is where the $213 million cost was identified. And so with this amendment, the cost should no longer be included in the fiscal note because OSA would likely assume that the board would implement the 80% floor based on what they project the funding status of the plan to be. Also, the fiscal note would show an increased savings because of the assumption that the board would implement the 80% floor moving forward and throughout the full 25 years. So that would show a, prior to that 15-year mark where it would show a dramatic savings, it would show, like I said, relatively modest savings prior to that. And this was something that Mitch actually showed the board back in December when you were trying to decide between going with an 80% floor or the 90% floor with the offset. Okay, so that's that was a lot there. So I'll just stop there. If there's any questions on the benefit improvement bill, be happy to try answering them for you. It's like, no.
One quick point before Jacob moves on. I would like to extend a personal thanks to Senator Rivers and Senator Holy and Representative Berquist. The three of them helped coordinate the amendments between the House and the Senate to make sure that both committees will be considering the exact same language tomorrow, as Jacob pointed out. And that took quite a bit of work on their part. And then it also could facilitate the movement of these bills when they reach the opposite House a little bit later in session. So I wanted to call you guys out and thank you personally for your efforts on behalf of the board.
Okay, I'll move on to the other left two board bills. Senate Bill 5726 and its companion, House Bill 1804, which is our interruptive military service credit bill, which once again, that was a joint bill with the Select Committee on Pension Policy. The Senate bill was exec out of Ways and Means last week and has been referred to the Transportation Committee. Typically, our bills are not referred to the Transportation Committee, but that's because there's a fiscal impact to the Washington State Patrol retirement system, and the State Patrol is actually funded out of the transportation budget. At this time, as of this morning, it had not been scheduled for hearing yet with the Transportation Committee. The House version of this bill was exec out of appropriations yesterday. And when I checked this morning, I assume it will also be referred to the House Transportation Committee, but it had not been referred there yet. And then the other left to board bill, House Bill 1752, Roth option for the state deferred compensation plan. It was exec out of committee last week. I did want to share this. I like this quote listening into it. Rep. Stokesbury, who agreed to sponsor the bill, described it to the Appropriations Committee as probably the easiest vote you will ever make on a pension bill. So thought you might enjoy that. And then there's no companion bill in the Senate for this one. Also wanted to update you because when the board voted to endorse this legislation in December, at that time we did not yet know whether the budget package request that DRS had made for this to be included in the budget was included in the governor's budget. But we did find out a week or so later that it did get included in the governor's budget. So any questions on either of those bills? No. Okay. And then there was one other bill that I did want to talk to the board about, Senate Bill 5791, which is the copies the board's benefit improvement bill language, but it also includes an additional section providing a lump sum payment to Left One retirees paid for by the Left One Fund. And it's the same lump sum benefit that's Left Two members, that some Left Two members would qualify for under the board's bill. It had a hearing in Ways and Means on the same day that the Left Two board bill was heard. But this bill has not been scheduled for executive action at this time. At the hearing, there was discussion amongst the committee members of whether there should be a work group, possibly with the Select Committee on Pension Policy, to work with the different Left One stakeholder groups and come to consensus on how to move forward with the Left One benefit improvement. And that was in part because there were Left One groups who were signed up against the bill and others signed up for it. And also because the benefit improvement had not been brought up in at Select Committee. So any questions on that bill? No? Okay. So just as a final reminder, all the bills are summarized and their status is updated by Tammy. Keeps track of all that on our website. So if you get questions, you can always direct people there. And then obviously if they have deeper questions than that, they can always reach out to me or Steve. And also did want to point out that on our website, we did put a Q&A about the benefit improvement bill and what benefit members would qualify for. We heard there were a lot of questions coming in to you guys and to us on that. So just wanted to put some of that information out there where members would be able to find it easily and share it with others. So yeah, that completes my presentation. I'll hand it back off to Steve. Thanks.
Hey, Dennis, before Jacob jumps off, and I know we've done this before, but the updates that you're putting out are excellent. It's easy to get to some of the members that are concerned, so I really appreciate the ones you've been sending out. So thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Steve?
Good job, Jacob. The second part of the these kind of abbreviated, if you will, board meetings during session is just a quick administrative update of things that are going on in the office. You received in your materials a copy of the fourth quarter budget update. Jay, we are the only state agency that publishes our budget on our website and the ongoing status quarterly for everybody to see. But there it is. Right now, when the board was created, there was a strong desire for transparency. And so we do things at this agency kind of above and beyond what a lot of other agencies might do. In any event, that's what's going on here. That's the current status of the budget. As you can see, we've got a modest positive variance, a little over 80,000, with 2 more quarters to go in the biennium. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, if there are any. And you can always reach out to me one-on-one if there's something that you're curious about. Outreach activities. During session, some of the stakeholder groups have ledge conferences or ledge leadership meetings, and we're often invited to answer questions about board bills at those, and I expect that that will be the case again. I know WACOPS has scheduled something. I'm not sure yet if the state council has. If they have and you've told me about it, Dennis, I apologize. But Jacob mentioned it. He was very, very polite about the way I mentioned it. The board's benefit bill affects every member. Everybody's going to get some kind of benefit out of this, whether they're retired or active. And so with over 18,000 active members and I think over 5,000 retirees now, as word of this is getting out, particularly among retirees who might not be as well connected, we've been getting a lot of questions about what there's a bill, what does it do? What will it do for me in particular? So I anticipate we've been working well with the stakeholders to answer those kind of questions and continue that. And as you get those, remember Jacob pointed out, we've got a Q&A page on the website, and we've got up-to-date status of all the bills on the website. So please feel free that as you're getting requests yourself to direct people to that. Tammy's made it very easy to find the bills and find the desired information without having to do a lot of searching or digging on the website to get there. We are in the process, as we've told you before, of what's called an accountability audit. That's also conducted by the state auditor's office, but instead of looking at the financial records so much, it's more looking at a lot of the processes. We had anticipated that that audit might be completed in the first half of February and that we'd have some kind of final report available for you by the time of the February board meeting. That is not 100% certain as of this time now, so I'm not sure whether we'll be done in time for the February board meeting or not, but it's going along well. Jessica and Jesse are working with the auditor to make sure they have everything that they need. And the cooperation between the two bodies has been going along fine. So no concern about the delay or something. It's just going to potentially take a little bit more time than originally projected. And then finally, as you know, the Department of Retirement Systems has been really good about reaching out to the board staff when they're working on proposed rules that affect Left Plan 2 and giving us a chance to share insights, review drafts, even provide comments. Right now, we're working on a couple of rules that I wanted to make, areas that I want to make sure. One has to do with disability retirements, in particular, the review of catastrophic disability retirements by DRS to make sure that members who were originally determined to be unable of any substantial gainful employment are still in fact unable of any substantial gainful employment. That's moving along well, and the project plan for DRS is that they will reach out to affected members this year for the financial review of that status, and then begin the review of the members' medical status the following year, so sometime in 2023. And they've been working with us all along on that as far as the communications and the rollout of that. A second topic that we're working on with them has to do with members returning to work, and not as left members. If you retire as a firefighter or a cop and you return to work as a firefighter or a law enforcement officer, you go right back into left 2 membership. There is no retire, rehire in left 2, but there is the ability to move into a PERS job or a teacher's job or some other retirement system, and it gives you some options about whether you want to earn a second pension or whether you just want to keep receiving your left pension, in case you take a lower paying job and you want to use your left pension to supplement that career change. A couple of questions have come up about how to handle situations where a member may be separated for a while before they get employed, and we're sorting through all of those with DRS. So there'll be an update to that. We'll keep you posted on that throughout the this upcoming interim. With that, that concludes all of the kind of key, what I thought anyway, were the key administrative items. But I would be happy to answer any questions that you guys have about how things are going or any other topics of interest. Otherwise, Tammy's already got it on the screen. The next board meeting is February 23rd. Again, that's still during session, so that will primarily consist of a legislative update and an administrative update. And again, Jacob will be sending out weekly legislative updates by email. If you have any specific questions, detailed questions that you want to reach out to either me or Jacob about, please feel free to do that. You don't have to wait for the Friday updates or for the board meetings, certainly. You can reach out to us at any time.
Are there any questions before we entertain a motion to adjourn? Steve and your team, thank you for all your work. It's a great job as normal. All right, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed can stay and talk to me. There you go.
Take care.
All right, have a great day. Be safe.